Hello everyone, today we are with Her Royal Highness Princess Lamia bin Majed Al Saud, Secretary General and member of the Board of Trustees at Alwaleed Philanthropies for the WHF Talks Live as part of World Humanitarian Forum's digital series. Welcome, Your Highness. It is an honor to welcome you on this occasion. We cannot start this conversation without addressing the biggest global challenge of today, COVID-19. How has COVID-19 changed the lives of people in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Middle Eastern region? What are the ongoing challenges in the country, and what are the global challenges that your organization have seen on the ground?
First of all, thank you very much for having me with you in this talk. It's a great pleasure. Looking forward to a nice conversation and informative conversations as well. Well, as you know, a pandemic with this size, definitely it changed every part of the society. It changed from starting the way we educate our children to the way we go along the day-to-day life. Definitely in our part of the world, it changed a lot. It changes from a hygiene perspective, from a mental perspective. There's a lot of effects in a way or another, but thanks God that in Saudi Arabia, as we just said, we adopted to this very quickly because 70% of our population are youth. So they're more able to be changing their behavior in a way or another more than, old people. But there is a new norm in the world. And that's what we have to accept, and that's what we have to live with, because we don't think from out of our experience that this pandemic will end anytime soon in a way or another, so it will be a way of life. Now, the challenges of this pandemic, it varies between a poverty, how the poverty will be affected, or poor people and societies will be affected, the economical status, the mental status, and there's a lot of aspects. But thanks God, as I said, in Saudi Arabia, we've been very lucky of the response of the government and the serious instruction or measures they took to contain this pandemic, and also the response of people at the end of the day. Awareness is very important. And as much as it's a very serious virus and pandemic, but it depends on you at the end of the day. So, and it's very easy, but it's not easy for poor people at the end of the day. We believe that our role as Alwaleed Philanthropy, we have to have, and this is what we launched as the initiative that we launched, we have an immediate reaction or an immediate aid, and we have an ongoing one, and we have a which is the economical part of the pandemic and the challenges we'll be facing.
Thank you so much. To help the efforts to fight against this pandemic, Alwaleed Philanthropies has allocated $30 million. Can you tell us more about your efforts? What initiatives have been helped? What resources have been mobilized? And what sectors have been targeted in response from this generous contribution?
Well, our latest contribution in regards or in fight of the COVID-19, it's dissected in two sections. So yes, it's a 30 million, but the actual paid now, it's 20 something. And 9.4 was a previous project that we redirect the fund to be in serve for people to fight the COVID-19. But what's very important about that, it's the perspective of the importance of partnership. We believe that we don't have to be knowledgeable about everything, but when you have a very trusted and strong partner on ground, you can do much more. And this is how we work at Alwaleed Philanthropy. So, for example, the previous donation, we worked with the Gavi on Infuse, and here we redirected the fund instead of innovation for general vaccination, how to make sure that it reached the rural area. We diverted to the COVID and how to serve the COVID, the end fund as well, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Yet we've been introduced to new partners such as the WHO. We never worked with the WHO, so we pledged $5 million for health perspective, the testing, the diagnostic kits and everything, and the research. also with the African Center. It's our first time to work with them, and we're working with them through the Bill and Melinda Gates philanthropy partners. We actually waited a bit longer than any other foundation just to understand where's the need. And this is where we take it from there. So as I said, we dissected an immediate aid, ongoing, and afterwards, how people will live, because there's a huge economical problem will appear very soon. We're expecting almost over the 100 million jobs will be lost around the world. So you can imagine the economical status, how it's going to be. And this is why we're working with the ISESCO to build the local capacity in Africa, and to empower women and youth to work on small scales factories to produce masks and hygiene materials.
You mentioned about partners and working with NGOs and INGOs. Partnering with various organizations is vital when considering effective response. Alwaleed Philanthropies has an extremely wide network of organizations that you work with. You mentioned Gavi, Gates Foundation, Danish Refugee Council is one of them. Can you outline how you are promoting partnerships and collaborations with your partners, considering the challenges placed by COVID-19?
Well, in such a pandemic that it requires quarantine and and social distancing, it was, if we didn't have this network, if we didn't have this partnership, and if we didn't have this relation that we keep along the year. Alwaleed Philanthropies has been working for 40 years now. We worked with over the 350 partners around the world. We're working in 6 continents. So we have, alhamdulillah, thanks God, we have a very good relation with everyone. And this is how we don't need to wait till the social distancing, the quarantine, the airlines open. That's why we build a trustworthy relation with our partner, and this is our methodology. This foundation, we reach 1 billion beneficiaries this year, and we closed over the 1,500 projects. And this is all done by 10 Saudi ladies, by the way, which I'm very honored and lucky to have them in my team. But it runs by our partners. We have established relation and trust, and we know that those partners will deliver. So we don't have to be on ground. We work with embassies, we work with foundation and NGOs and NPOs as well. In this pandemic is in specific, because it's a new thing. There's nothing, there is no rules, there's nothing, nobody knows anything about it yet. But yet, in the same time, it's very simple. It's only a mask and a gloves, and just wash your hand. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, the poor people, they don't have this luxury to wash their hand or have soap or have clean water, even if you know that there's even the above 80 million people around the world, they don't have access to clean water. So for me and you, what we think it's something normal that we can do every day, for them, it's a big luxury and they cannot afford it.
I'm going to come back to women empowerment issues and working with a team of women. It is really impressive, and I'm really inspired by your approaches. But I would like to, first of all, finish my questions on COVID-19. In your perspective, where is the global response still lacking? And what are the issues that are considered of critical concern for Alwaleed Philanthropies?
Because it's a very new virus that there is no knowledge, we're not knowledge even from a scientific perspective. No one is very well knowledge about it. Well, there will be a different effects, and it's a learning curve with the COVID-19. No one knows exactly what's going to happen. No one knows how it's going to go, when it's going to end. It varies. But what we know for a fact that people will be affected in a way or another, and the most dangerous thing is the economical status of people, and put in mind double that on the poor people or the communities who doesn't have this much of awareness and education about how to keep themselves safe. Yet it's very simple. So that's why when we actually wanted to collaborate, we dissected our focus, and we thought of, you know what, it's, for example, the UN Habitat. The first thing that you can do to save yourself is just lock yourself in a room. But in Syria, in Iraq, in Tunis, this is not something normal, like 20 to 30 people in one room. So the thing that it's okay for us and our government provide hotels and 5-star hotel for you to sit in it till you have your result and you're negative. This is something they don't have the idea about it there. So that's why we collaborated with you and Habitat to build shelters and to provide hygiene supplies for people in the Middle East. I think the Middle East and Africa, I don't think Africa's numbers is already released, and I think we will face a very big problem there. But I believe, and I would advise the NGOs start looking to the basic needs more than the scientific part of it, because the scientific part of it, trillions are there. It's like literally trillions are there. But shelters, housing, hygiene, simple materials are not there. We would think it's silly just to provide soap for people. That's very important. They don't have it. They don't have this in their life. So it may be an income for them. It may be a sustainable future for them, because as we said, it's not going to be ending soon. And at the end of the day, you're actually educating them to a better hygiene moving forward.
You mentioned your partnership with UN Habitat, and also you have recently been appointed as the first regional goodwill ambassador for the Arab states by the United Nations Human Settlements Program, UN Habitat. Congratulations on that. Can you share which issues are closest to your heart and you are interested in highlighting as goodwill ambassador?
I'm really honored, and I'm really privileged to be the first goodwill ambassador from the Middle East. At the end of the day, it's what is home? When we say home, it's your own security, it's your own safe zone. And now with the COVID-19 and with all the panicking in the world, you need only a roof on top of your head to be safe. And this is where a lot of people doesn't understand the importance of, you know what, if you want to do charity, just provide houses for people. You keep them safe, you keep them secured, and you give them an essential part of their life. So that's why it's very dear to my heart, this position, because I know the value of it. And at our foundation, alhamdulillah, thanks God, we are committed every year to give 1,000 units to needy families in Saudi Arabia. We duplicate this in Egypt. We have 10,000 units. It's almost 1 billion Egyptian pound project to provide 10,000 houses as well. Beside, of course, the disaster relief or aid that we built a lot of houses. If we count them, they would reach maybe almost 50,000 or more than 100,000 around the world.
You mentioned few initiatives that you are conducting. Alwaleed Philanthropies has a very strong regional presence, and its reach goes way beyond the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. His Royal Highness Prince Alwaleed bin Talal said recently that we must spare a thought for the developing countries of Africa and the less fortunate countries in the Middle East. Can you tell us a bit more about the initiatives in the region?
Well, as I mentioned, we've been working for 40 years. Actually, we covered the world. We would say we covered the world, and especially if you see our area of focus, which is community development, goes under it, health, education, infrastructure, even nuclear energy and clean energy. We entered with the gates in the breakthrough energy, alhamdulillah. And women and youth empowerment, providing vital disaster relief. And the very interesting area of focus that we have is narrowing gap between Islam and West, and promoting for tolerance and understanding, which is a very unique area for an individual foundation in our part of the world. We have a physical centers in 6 of most respectful universities to create dialogue and research between our part of the world and the East. And also putting in mind that we believe in culture and heritage, and that's why we created in the Louvre Museum the Center of Islamic Art, and we duplicated in Berlin as well. Unfortunately, we should supposedly be opening the center of Berlin, but it may be virtual nowadays. So His Royal Highness perspective, he actually, what's very unique about him, he didn't dedicate his money, and he pledged all his wealth in 2015 to the philanthropy. But he didn't dedicate it for one cause. because he believes that whenever there is a need, may God, inshallah, make him be able to provide. So we worked in on different causes. He's actually a champion to end measles and rubella around the world. He worked a lot in vaccination. Actually, our portfolio in vaccination is full, almost. Infrastructure, refugee, name it. We just do everything. He just wants his money to go to narrow gap and close gap whenever it's needed. So he's a very unique person. We're very lucky to have him as a boss.
It must be great to work with such a great and inspirational leader. My last question about COVID is going to be about the challenges. COVID inevitably has placed unique challenges to organizations that respond to disasters. In the wake of natural disasters, organizations need to respond quickly to ensure that vulnerable populations are protected. With travel bans currently in place, the ability to respond promptly to crisis has been critically hindered. How has Alwaleed Philanthropies aimed to address these challenges?
That's why I'm telling you, we're very lucky, alhamdulillah, that we already built our relation with our partner on ground. So we really don't need to be on ground or taking or having this hassle in our brain, how we can reach people in need. And this is what we have been doing for 40 years. With our partners that already have an existing on ground, they have the research, they have the deliverables, we agree on what is the lack. We always like to enter, to close a gap and get out and keep monitoring it, and we see if we are needed in much further aspect of the disaster, for example, in this pandemic. So because of our previous relation with our partner, and honestly, we get introduced through new partner via our current partner. So it's unity. And this is, again, what keeps us going, that we are united. We believe that you have a knowledge that I don't have. I don't have to learn it as much. I can collaborate with you, and you take from my knowledge, I take from yours. And this is how life goes.
Thank you so much. And here we come to one of my favorite topics, women empowerment and working with women. As a woman that leads with a team full of women, as you mentioned, you are very much considered as an advocate of women's issues and empowerment worldwide. The UN Secretary General and his office have released a report highlighting the impact that COVID-19 has had in the undermining much of the progress for women and girls. How can the international community and regional actors work together so we move forward?
Women and girls have a very, very unique power in reshaping society, to be very honest. Misjudged a lot, especially in Saudi Arabia and the Middle East, and I think still in the UK, you have a lot of challenges. To be very honest, I need to correct you, I'm not an activist in a certain way. I believe men have a role and women have a role. I don't think we can live in this world but together at the end of the day. I think we are very smart, we can really shape society, and we can change, because you're the mother. You actually do this every day with your child. So, and you succeed in it. And this is how you have a good relation, you have a good generation, you have a good future for this country. But at the end of the day, equality and empowering women or youth, it's always been the major focus of Alwaleed Philanthropy, and specifically His Royal Highness Prince Alwaleed bin Talal. Prince Alwaleed have been pushing for women empowerment since the 80s. Since in Saudi Arabia, it was like a taboo to say empower women. It was a taboo, and you do not spell it out of your mouth, literally. And he's been advocating for this along, and this is where we learn from him. We're here to actually translate his vision, to make to deliver his message along the year. And we understand the power of women, and that's what we're doing. We're concentrating in women from an economical perspective, because this is the most important thing. So, for example, with this pandemic, we're working with our ladies artisans in Myanmar, and they're producing a lovely heritage pieces with the Turquoise Mountain, Prince of Charles Foundation for sure. We're doing the same with our artisans in Saudi Arabia. They're now working from home, and they just delivered pieces for the Four Seasons Hotel for the renovation, and they're very fully committed. Also, our ladies, the captains with Kareem, which is the equivalent of Uber. We have almost 60 of them on the street now, are captains, and they're doing amazing during the pandemic. So we're trying our best in the foundation, whether locally or internationally, to provide knowledge and skills for women and youth that it will reflect on their life. It's not only giving a training and just walk away. No, we secure job, we secure sustainable income for them that will improve their life and their families.
I cannot agree more with you. Once men will be more supportive on the women empowerment, I think it is where we are going to solve all the problems. I would like to mention about the initiative that you have set up with General Statistics Authority, National Observatory for Women at King Saud University and UN Women. You introduced findings regarding women participation in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This is the first ever nationwide study of women's participation and development, as far as I know. Could you outline for us why you think this is of particular importance and the other projects that you have undergone?
Well, it was a milestone for the foundation. And this project, I'm very proud of, because this is the first indicator that launched from Saudi Arabia, telling an exact number about women participation in the society, authorized by, authenticated by the government, by NGO, by a research, the General Statistics, a research center, and an international entity such as the UN Women to come and actually say, this is more than what we expected. It was the first time, and this is how you move forward. This is how you help your society. We, in our part of the world, we're not very knowledgeable about the importance, the real importance of number and statistics, but we're changing very, very fast. And those numbers give us an indicator how to help and where to direct our fund and how to support, and who's the right beneficiaries. And is it education? Is it financial support? Is it building skills? So with these indicators that came out for the first time from Saudi Arabia, it gives us a huge variety of where we can help. And this is why we're continuing on the indicators, and there's an indicator will be launched very soon in Saudi Arabia that we're taking over.
That is great. We discussed your role as the Goodwill Ambassador of UN Habitat. You inspire young people and their aspirations. Who is an inspiration to you, and what does the future hold for you, your work and Alwaleed Philanthropies?
For me, my of course, and I know everybody will expect this, but it is Prince Walid bin Talal. He's my mentor, to be very honest. I learn from him by second, to be very honest. He's a very giving person, yet very professional. And he would never accept anything but perfect. And this is what we learn from him. There's a lot of people, honestly, their giving and their participation in the COVID-19 really attract my attention. So for example, of course, Mr. Bill Gates and Ms. Melinda Gates, they're always on the scene, and they're always there for philanthropy and for charity. But Jack Dorsey was a very surprising contributor for me. I know he's been around Africa, and he's doing a lot of charity, but $1 billion, it's a number. And really, it was highly appreciated. Everyone during the COVID-19, even the small DJs, they tried to do, live concert just to, have funds for people. So whoever did an effort to help people, they inspire me. My team inspire me every day. Whenever they come up with ideas, how to help people, how they digest projects, I get inspired every day with everyone around me. So I'm lucky. Yeah.
Your Highness, thank you so much for your time today. It has been a great pleasure to conduct this interview and have the intimate conversation with you. My last question is going to be your message to the audience watching this right here, right now.
We've been through a lot in this pandemic, and the psychological effect of it was huge. But honestly, I always like to look to the positive side of the story more than the negative part of the story. And I want to convey and express my condolences to each and everyone who lost a loved one or a family member. Yet, to be very honest, I'll talk about my personal experience. I have two beautiful daughters, and I was really busy helping others, and I was away from my daughters for a very long time. And I'm grateful that I had this time to spend it with my daughter and to understand more about them. And I know that there is a lot of people who had to slow down and put their life on pause to understand what's their priority and what's the importance of people around them. Just setting up your priorities. It was one, even the planet breathed again. And everything, it's different from another perspective, but as a mother, I'm very grateful for this valuable time I actually spent with my daughters.
Thank you so much.